The news didn't arrive with loud music or dramatic announcements. It started quietly with a court update that began circulating through legal blogs and smaller entertainment pages. At first, most people scrolling past it didn't realize how significant the story would become. It looked like just another update in a celebrity legal situation, the kind that appears online every day and disappears just as quickly. But within minutes, the headline began spreading everywhere. The update revealed that Remy Ma had just secured a major legal victory. The details were still emerging, and the internet was already moving fast, trying to understand exactly what had happened behind those courtroom doors. For weeks, fans had been watching the situation closely. Rumors had been circulating across social media, blogs, and online forums about what might happen next. Some believed the case could create serious problems for her reputation. Others insisted the truth would eventually come out in her favor. Now, suddenly, the court's decision had arrived, and the narrative people had been arguing about online seemed to shift almost instantly. As the first reports appeared, social media reacted the way it always does when a celebrity story breaks quickly. People began reposting the update, adding their own interpretations, assumptions, and theories. Supporters of Remy Ma celebrated immediately, saying the decision proved she had been unfairly criticized throughout the entire situation. Meanwhile, critics were still waiting for more details. They wanted to know exactly what the ruling meant and whether the story was truly over. But the biggest surprise wasn't just the legal victory itself. It was the way the conversation quickly turned toward another familiar name connected to the story, Papoose. Fans knew his reaction would eventually become part of the discussion. His loyalty and public support for Remy Ma had long been one of the defining aspects of their relationship. To understand why this court decision felt so dramatic to fans, it helps to go back to the weeks leading up to it. The legal situation had slowly built tension online. Every few days, new rumors appeared on blogs or discussion pages. Some claimed the case might expose embarrassing details. Others insisted that the accusations being discussed publicly didn't match the reality of what had actually happened. Because the full story wasn't clear, speculation filled the space where facts should have been. That's how the internet often works. When information is incomplete, people start building their own versions of the narrative. And with someone as well-known as Remy Ma involved, the attention only grew bigger with each passing day. Throughout that period, many fans reflected on the long and complicated journey that had shaped her career. Remy Ma had never been a stranger to controversy or public scrutiny. Over the years, she had faced moments that tested her resilience both personally and professionally. Yet she had also found ways to rebuild her image through music, television appearances, and open conversations about her past. That history made this legal situation feel even more intense. People wondered whether the case might reopen old wounds or create new challenges for her public image. Some critics predicted that the controversy might damage her reputation again. Others argued that she had already proven her ability to survive difficult moments and return stronger. As the court proceedings continued quietly in the background, fans didn't have access to every detail. Most of what they heard came through fragments of reports, short updates, or commentary from entertainment bloggers attempting to piece together the story. That uncertainty kept the tension alive. People kept asking the same questions. What really happened? What evidence would the court consider? And most importantly, how would the final decision affect Remy Ma's career? Then, almost unexpectedly, the ruling arrived. According to early reports, the court had carefully reviewed the evidence presented during the proceedings. Lawyers from both sides had argued their positions, presenting timelines and explanations designed to support their claims. Observers inside the courtroom described moments when the arguments became intense, with both sides trying to convince the judge that their version of events was the most accurate. For those who had followed the case closely, it sounded like a serious legal battle rather than the simplified story spreading online. When the decision was finally announced, it became clear that the outcome favored Remy Ma. The judge's ruling effectively dismantled several assumptions that had been circulating across social media for weeks. Legal commentators began explaining that the evidence presented in court didn't support the dramatic version of the story that had been spreading online. In other words, the courtroom narrative looked very different from the internet narrative. And that difference changed everything. Within minutes of the news spreading, Remy Ma's supporters began celebrating online. Posts appear praising her strength and patience during the entire situation. Many fans argued that this legal victory proved how dangerous internet speculation can be when it spreads faster than verified information. Others simply expressed relief that the case seemed to end in her favor. Hashtags started trending. Entertainment. Pages quickly turned the court decision into headline news. But while people were still reacting to the legal victory itself, another part of the story was quietly developing. Fans began wondering how Papoose would respond. Over the years, he had become known for his unwavering support of Remy Ma, often defending her publicly whenever criticism appeared. Their relationship had become one of the most talked about partnerships in hip-hop, not just because of their music, but because of the loyalty they showed each other during difficult times. That history meant people were watching closely for any sign of his reaction. At first, there was silence. Hours passed without any direct statement from Papoose. That silence itself became part of the story. Fans debated whether he was waiting for the right moment to speak or simply choosing to keep things private. In the world of social media, even a delay can create suspense. People checked his accounts repeatedly, searching for a tweet, a caption, or even a subtle message that might hint at his feelings about the court's decision. Eventually, a reaction did appear. It wasn't a long speech or a dramatic video. Instead, it came through a short message that many fans interpreted as quiet support. Some readers believed the post was a clear celebration of Remy Ma's victory. Others thought it sounded more reflective, like someone acknowledging the stress of the situation finally coming to an end. As always, the internet began analyzing every word. The response sparked another wave of discussion online. Many fans praised Papoose for standing by his wife during yet another challenging moment. They argued that his loyalty had once again been proven, especially in a situation where public pressure and online criticism might have pushed others to distance themselves. To those supporters, the legal victory felt like validation not only for Remy Ma, but also for the strength of their relationship. However, not everyone interpreted the situation the same way. Some critics pointed out that celebrity relationships often appear stronger online than they might actually be behind the scenes. They wondered whether the stress of the legal battle had created tensions that the public simply couldn't see. The truth was that no one outside the relationship truly knew what conversations had taken place privately during the weeks of speculation. As the debate continued, entertainment commentators began stepping back to look at the bigger picture. They noted how quickly the story had transformed from a legal update into a full social media spectacle. The original court decision was only one piece of the puzzle. Around it, fans had built narratives about loyalty, reputation, and public perception. In many ways, the online reaction revealed just as much about the audience as it did about the celebrities involved. Meanwhile, more details about the courtroom proceedings began surfacing through legal summaries and media coverage. Reports explained how the judge had examined evidence carefully before making the final ruling. The process, according to those familiar with the case, was far more methodical than the chaotic speculation that had dominated the internet. That contrast highlighted something interesting about modern celebrity culture: the gap between real legal processes and the simplified stories people share online. For Remy Ma, the victory seemed to represent more than just a legal outcome. Many fans saw it as another chapter in a long story of resilience. Throughout her career, she had faced obstacles that might have ended someone else's path in the spotlight.